Why does this country hate furries? On January 11, 2022, the spin-off published an article titled, "Who Owns the Internet? Furries." It looks into the Information Technology Center and the fandom, showing how they run the internet. Now, this would be a typical article on furries, if it weren't for one thing, a country hating it. The New Zealand Taxpayers Union decided that they had a problem with this article and tried to insult it. Almost immediately though, furries came in to swiftly defend the article, along with slinging insults at the group. The spin-off is a New Zealand-based online magazine and news site that makes money off of commercial sponsorships and subscriptions. It's known for covering current affairs along with political, social, and cultural analysis. The article is pretty fascinating. It could be a video of itself, but here's the short and simple of it. Dylan Reed meets with 4 furries in real life to talk about the IT industry. They then start off explaining what furries are and challenging the myths behind the fandom. They then talk about the correlation between furries and the IT industry and how they're overrepresented in the fandom. They then quote a tweet from 2019 by Stormy Bolt, which states, "I guarantee you the internet would collapse in the most horrific manner if all the furries in the world got Thanos now." They take another tweet which states, "All modern communication would collapse and about 50 people, most of which are furries, decided to turn off the pager for a day." There's a picture with a bunch of furries on a plane, and someone commented stating, "I object to that many furries being on an airplane because if there's an accident, it could basically cripple the American IT industry in an instant." A couple of quotes from conversations with furries explain the prevalence of the fandom across IT spaces in both New Zealand and the United States. Some discuss how most of the fandom knows its work, but not many of their colleagues know about their hobby due to the stigma surrounding it. The article briefly mentioned the bad percentage furries have received through the media and TV shows. These stereotypes are false, with the furries interviewed described as inclusive and accepting. The origin these communities as described by a furry can result in the online communities and the value they bring. While there are no solid answers as to why so many furries work in IT, there is a theory that because of the online nature of the fandom, it's a place where people can build computer skills, which can result in a career. Furries who work in IT can often network with each other at conferences, where you can receive contracts and job recommendations. Some believe that the next job may come through the fandom. They end the article stating that there is some truth in the idea that furries run the internet. One thing you have to note here is that the article is written as public interest journalism funded through New Zealand on air. This means that the article is written with taxpayer dollars. Quick side note, but I believe we need more journalism that's funded through the public. The media has been traditionally relying on advertising, which has many problems. Since news articles make money solely based on the number of clicks they receive, this incentivizes them to write on the most click-worthy topics with the most clickbait titles and thumbnails. This is not good for internet culture, as it results in lower quality articles. Subscriptions, donations, and other alternative models of payment have been able to somewhat fight back against this trend, but it's not always enough. This will be very important for later, as the New Zealand Taxpayer Union didn't take so kindly towards the dollars being used to pay for this article. The New Zealand Taxpayers Union is a self-described tax pressure group founded in 2013 to criticize government spending, show government waste, and promote an efficient tax system. They claim to not be affiliated with any political party, however, they refuse to state who funds them. Along this, they have been closely aligned to right-wing members of New Zealand politics, resulting in them being known as a right-wing group. They have previously taken jabs at the spin-off for using public money for their operations, but were angered out of their taxes being used for this particular article. They decided to attack this piece, saying, "Unbelievable! Taxpayers are funding pro-furry propaganda." This article is part of the Atlas spin-off TV series, given $335,000 from the Public Interest Journalism Fund. Of course, many furries went in and completely ratioed the tweet. They felt that the article is insightful and wasn't solely promoting furries. However, the union believed otherwise, stating, "This tweet has sparked an offensive response from a rabid pack of furries who don't appreciate criticism of their taxpayer-funded puff piece." To add insult to injury, they decided to attack the accounts of the furries, as if it helps with their argument. If you want to be disturbed, scroll through the replies and quote tweets. Warning, many of these accounts are not safe for work. Many felt that the account made this post with the sole intention of gathering attention, and it seems to have worked. Not content at one tweet, they decided to make an entire press release on this article. The first off representative clarified that they're okay with furries, but not when left-leaning lifestyle websites are normalizing this behavior. They claimed that this piece was pro-furry propaganda, and that they were quoting anecdotes from furries without showing the other side of the debate. According to them, the article isn't accurate simply because they haven't got data or verified facts for the amount of furries in the IT sector, which they claim to be useful to the public and potentially the authorities. They even made a picture showcasing their points with the caption, "This is what your taxes are paying for." They made multiple comments about the furries and the article, but one in particular brought up some attention. It's this one, where they put furries next to some text that states, "Chris Pafoy has given the spin-off $1.5 million in order to reduce public interest journalism, including interviews with members of New Zealand's furry subculture." Of course, there's a Nazi emoji just for some extra flair. They did bring up the point that the article wasn't propaganda, and that it was fair insight into the relationships between furries and the IT industry. But I want to point out out the person who funded this. Christopher Foy is a former journalist who works in the BBC as a political commentator. He is the current Minister of Justice, along with the current Minister of Immigration, but more importantly is the current Administrator of Broadcasting and Media. He allocated $55 million to rescue grassroots public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air. One thing I'd like to know is the amount of money that was apparently allocated to the spin-off. According to the New Zealand Taxpayers Union, they claim that $335,000 were given to the organization before changing to $1.5 million. I have found a source for the first claim. New Zealand On Air has an entire website dedicated to the funding of public interest journalism, and they have an entire database of funding decisions. I was able to find IRL, which showcased that they received $335,000 in July 2021. The description reads, IRL will explore the real-life consequences of online life through in-depth investigative features and personal stories. The article is written for that series, so it does check out. As for the $1.5 million, I haven't been able to find any sources for the second claim. Most of the funding goes into the creation of documentaries, which isn't exactly what we're talking about. The only thing that comes close is this article by The Scoop saying 18 targeted role applications were recommended for a total funding of $1,500,785. It could be assumed that the spin-off is included in these applications, but doesn't state so explicitly. Either New Zealand On Air didn't allocate that much money to the spin-off and the New Zealand Taxpayers Union is lying, or the union has secret records that New Zealand On Air doesn't have. Given what the Taxpayer Union's account has been saying on Twitter, I'm inclined to believe New Zealand On Air. Speaking on Twitter, the account has been entirely dedicated to making as much noise as possible about anything and everything that relates to New Zealand and taxes. You can see from their Twitter feed where they go all over seemingly minor stories just to get attention for their cause. It appears that they're milking it for all it's worth. Vice makes an article about this, where a spokesperson states the global furry underbelly might be able to throw its weight around Twitter, but as we all know, normal people don't use Twitter. Normal people use Facebook, where the responses to furry articles was very different. Now, the spin-off has posted this article on both Twitter and Facebook. Guess which one got more engagement? Overall, this is an example of some people on social media trying to gain attention by whatever means necessary. I don't think the New Zealand Taxpayer Union really cares that much about furries, and only did this to attract attention for their cause. Whether that's successful, it's up to you. On one hand, it brought out what could have been a minor news story to the public spotlight for many more people that otherwise might have not seen it. On the other hand, the Taxpayer Union got a lot of undeserved attention. This is not the only country that hates furries. Check out why this country wants to ban them.